Welcome back to Real Florida Magazine.
Welcome back here today on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College, another in our series of what's going on in the tri-state area. Today our guest is Nick Rickman, who is next week, depending on when you watch this show, going to the World Food Championships in Orange Beach, Alabama. When we come back, Nick's going to tell us a little bit about his, he's got some interesting stories, let's put it that way. He's been around some of the barbecue pit masters. He's been pre-qualified in some of these competitions. It's an interesting thing, one that I've always had a lot of interest. Hopefully you as a viewer are going to learn something with this show, as I do with every show. When we come back, we're going to talk to Nick about all of this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guest today is Nick Rickman. Thanks for taking the time. Jenny Ann Dean, who is a friend we have in common, who is actually works at Sunland Center, sent me an email last week and said, this guy Nick, he's getting ready to go to the World Food Championships. We've all watched those man versus food shows. We've all watched the barbecue pitmaster shows, reality TV, but it's also very entertaining and it's also very educational. Tell me a little bit about what this is all about.
Actually, what we won was the World Food Championship Elite Qualifier. And we won that at a KCBS barbecue tournament, which is the largest barbecue organization in the nation. It's the most recognized barbecue organization out there.
KCBS, for our uninitiated viewers, being?
Right, the Kansas City Barbecue Society.
Right.
And it's pretty much, you know, it's the milestone of barbecue. I mean, it's pretty much the main organization out there. There's a lot of others. We have the Florida Barbecue Association, which is another good organization that kind of resembles and mimics the KCBS, but it has a few different rule changes. We also compete in that organization as well when we can. You know, our catering business, we don't have a lot of time to compete like some of these guys compete 35 and 40 weekends a year, you know, and we're lucky to get in. We just started doing this a couple years ago, and we're trying to get in 4 to 6 contests a year.
Now, KCBS, would they be the ones who oversee Memphis in May, for instance?
Well, Memphis in May is an MBN style contest, which means they do on-site judging. That means 50% of your score, you build 2 boxes. You have one for judges that don't know who you are, and then you have another round where 3 judges will actually enter your cook site and they know who you are. So that, you know, it's still a prestigious organization, but it's still, some people it leaves a mind of a little bit of doubt in their mind that, you know, maybe sometimes politics come into this and that type of organization. With the KCBS, it's 100% blind. Nobody knows who you are. So actually double blind, so you're handing the box to somebody that's taking it to somebody else, and they have absolutely no clue of who you are. So
Gotcha.
The politics can't come into this, you know, this type of thing here. So I mean, that gives everybody confidence in it, and you have so that's why everybody is in the KCBS that is really serious about this and does it week in and week out. It's not a takeaway from the other organizations. They're great organizations, but you know, they're not the KCBS.
Let's back up. You own a catering business in Marianna, Florida. In the pre-show, we talked a little bit. I've had your food at Marianna Mistletoe Market. You were a food vendor there a couple of years ago. Talk a little bit about that catering business and how you got involved in that.
Well, I've catered off and on for quite some time. Recently, maybe 4 years ago, my wife and I decided to open a business, and we kind of scratched our head on how we could get our product out there and where we would set up at. And we seen a lot of things on TV with the food trucks that you see on a lot of the food shows, and I thought that was a really good idea. By doing that, you can, when you're catering an on-site job, where typically a caterer prepares food at a, location away from where the event would be, loaded into a vehicle and transported already done. And with us, we didn't really want to do that. We wanted to, because some stuff you can make ahead of time, but some stuff, especially your proteins, you want to, prepare those on site where they can be as fresh and delectable as possible. So, and that, we have, a way of doing that through our food truck. We can drive anywhere. We have a full commercial kitchen inside of there. So we can accommodate that, and we can really bring a good product to your location.
Fusion Craze, that's the name of your business?
Yes.
Okay. And what kinds of events, what kind of businesses would you cater to in that business?
Well, we love, our favorite thing to do is weddings and stuff like that. We love doing those kind of things. And my wife, Carrie, she has a pretty much an impeccable sense of what a bride wants and what she needs to do to take care of them and make sure that, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And whether it be a casual type wedding, country wedding, or something, really fancy, 5-star type thing. I mean, she really has a knack for that and a sense for what needs to be done and what we need to do to accommodate them, so she plays a big role in our business.
Have you and your wife always cooked?
Yeah. I mean, I've cooked since I was, knee high. That's something that I've always had a passion, for, and we like to eat out like anybody else, but we always, that was another reason we wanted to open our business. We always felt like, that places could do better. They could bring a better product to you, and than what a lot of them does, and we thought, hey, this is something we're good at and we can do, and it's just something we decided to, to move forward with.
When did you actually start Fusion Craze in Marianna?
It was 2014, so about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago.
Okay. Transition from the catering business to the competition. What got you involved and interested to start with in that competitive side of things, and talk a little bit about how that went about? Well,
I've always had a little bit of a competitive type of nature anyway, but we've seen a lot of these contests on TV, and like anybody else, I'd heard about people having barbecue contests, years ago, and I've barbecued for years, and I never really knew how to tap into it. You would just hear about it when a barbecue contest was coming up, and had no idea how to really plan for it ahead of time. By the time you hear about it, it's too late to really plan for it. And with the TV show Barbecue Pitmasters and everything, we became interested in that, started watching it, and then we kind of done some investigating and figured out how we could get involved in it, and we did, and it's really become a good thing for our business, because when you're competing, it puts you under timelines, and not only you're under timelines to have the product that you're putting out in pristine shape, all your marks hit, from appearance, taste, tenderness, the whole 9 yards. It's got to be top notch, and that's what we try to do when we cater an event. That's the great thing about our food truck, going back to it, is that we have the equipment there that we can do this stuff, and it enables us to do that when we're working in our business, that we know we have time frames, and you don't want to get stuff made too early. It sit there, and then it's not as good as it would be if it would be fresh. So,
well, and the difference too in catering versus competition is many times, the way I understand it, you don't know what cut of meat you're going to cook until the last minute.
Well, with the competition, you pretty much on that. Now, with this type of competition, with the World Food Championship, it's kind of like some of these other programs that you've seen on TV, like kind of like a Chopped or something like that. Where they do throw an ingredient at you to be infused into it. Where barbecue world, it's not really like that. You do know what you're you actually do know what you're cooking, the meats you're going to cook, and you actually can formulate a better game plan. With this, when it comes to this level of competition, I mean, it's anything goes, because you're dealing with the best of the best, and they expect you to be able to adapt and adjust to whatever they throw at you, or you shouldn't be there.
Now, depending on when our viewers are viewing this competition for you is next week. You're going to be in Orange Beach, Alabama. Is that where this is held every year, or does it move?
Actually, it started out in Las Vegas, and then they actually moved. They done it in Kissimmee, Florida last year, and this year they're doing it in Orange Beach. And I understand that the resort that it's going to be at, from my understanding, they built the resort for this competition. So I'm pretty positive that they're locked in for at least the next 3 years on that. I'm not confident about that, but I'm pretty sure that that's where it will be at for the next 3 years.
From a tourism point of view, from an economic development point of view, that's got to be strong for any kind of an area, or certainly a city like Orange Beach. They've had their share of issues. Obviously, they were impacted by storms, by oil spills, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
This has got to be a shot in the arm as far as revenues for them.
Absolutely. I mean, you're looking at the largest food competition in the world. I mean, this is bigger than any other food competition that you see on TV. I mean, there's over $300,000 in prize money to be had here. So you're bringing in 34 to 440 teams this year alone, which we're competing against 43 other competitors from all over the world in the state category. And if you win that category, you know, the winners from all the categories, I think there's 9 total. And if you win your category, then you compete against all the winners from the other categories. And you get to move on to what they call the final table. So then you compete for $100,000 individually.
All that being held that same weekend?
Yes, well, it's stretched out. It's actually stretched out almost through a 10-day period. It's a very big tournament. If I make it to the final table, I will have competed on 3 different days, and they're spaced out. I think the first competition is on Thursday. Then if you move on, you go to a top 10 in your category on Saturday, and then the final table is on Monday, I believe.
You said you were going to compete in a steak category. What kind of meat will you actually be cooking?
I'll be cooking a ribeye, is what I'll be cooking, is a ribeye steak. And that's what we won in Dothan with. And like I said, we beat a lot of top competitors there with actually probably we had a good grade of meat, but they were using super great cuts of meat, and we were actually able to beat them out on that. And that just gives us huge confidence, you know, going into this, because we have beaten some very good teams, and you know, I think I feel really good about our chances. I don't want to go into this overconfident, but we're happy to have made it this far, but we're definitely not sleeping on it, and we want to win the whole thing.
Now, in a world competition like that, and you mentioned this is the largest one in the world, do they provide all the facilities, or do you actually work out of your truck?
No, they have different categories. The only people that can actually bring their own equipment are the people that are actually competing in the barbecue category. They can bring their own smokers and all that and have a spot designated outside. This will be set up in a tent area, and they'll have individual cubicles. You know, when they provide you, that has the commercial appliances, you know, they have the sponsors like Kenmore, I believe, is one of the sponsors. And other different, I don't want to speak of their sponsorship because I'm not really sure exactly. I'm pretty sure that Kenmore is one of their main sponsors, and other different types of appliances, you know, and it's kind of like what you would see on CHOP, where they have 10 by 10 sections, and that's about what it is, like a 9 by 9 or 10 by 10 section for each team. And when you'll be pretty much in a row, and they'll, you know, the media will just come and film a little bit from each station, you know, as the tournament progresses. So, and it will be televised as well.
That was my next question. I was curious if they were going to go ahead and make that into a series, because I imagine a 10-day competition, it's not going to be just a single show.
Well, they actually, it's actually now they have the 2013 through the 2015 season that you can actually watch. You can probably set your DVR if you have a DVR. You can go in there and, you know, it'll record it when it comes on. But they actually have already, you know, have had these on cable news.
And is it called World Food Championships?
Yeah, it's the World Food Championship. That's the name of it. And like I said, you can go into your DVR and search that and set it to record, and you can see what it's all about. It's interesting.
I imagine they're pretty regulated and strict about personnel that you have. You could probably only have X number of people helping you. In your case, is it just you and your wife?
Yes, it's going to be just me and my wife, and maybe one more friend as well. I think you know, with the space given, I mean, you definitely need help, because you're going to be asked to do a lot more than what you would normally do at another competition in a shorter time frame. So help is one thing. You know, I'm a doer. I like to do everything. I kind of micromanage in the kitchen, and I like to make sure, I like to put my hands on everything so I know what the end result is going to be. And so that's kind of hard. I got to kind of step back and sort of let somebody come in and help. And I've just got, you know, you just have to be intelligent enough to know that know when you need help. And you know, we definitely need help on this one. So I'm going to have, you know, my wife and one more friend with, you know, they'll have assigned duties to, you know, stuff that they're going to do to help me out and you know, help out with this.
Has your success thus far helped your local business in Marianna and elsewhere? Have you been able to broker that attention that you got, the media attention certainly you got, and then the bona fides, the integrity that it brings to the table when you are that award-winning kitchen? Have you been able to recognize enhanced revenues or enhanced business from that?
Well, at this point, we have a pretty good business as it is, and we've already had our, you know, just by people, you know, trying and seeing what we've got, you know, we keep our customers that come, you know, as regulars. So we already have a good, thriving business, thank God. But we just won this a few weeks back, so it's still kind of new, and everybody's just starting to realize that. But I'm sure it will definitely have an impact, and that's, you know, you get those kind of expectations put on you, but that's what we try to do anyway. We try to bring the best product, no matter who you are, what you're ordering. We try to, you know, do our best as if we're cooking for judges, you know, because we really are. I mean, that's the backbone of your business. I mean, you put out a good product, you treat people right, you give them, you know, a generous portion, and you give them a quality portion as well, and you respect the ingredients, and you know, good things will happen if you do all those things. If you hit all those marks, then you're going to have people come back. You know, there's no doubt about it.
Well, getting awards, winning competitions are great, but there's nothing more important than paying your mortgage. So at the end of the month, if you've got that loyal following, you've got those customers that keep coming back, that says it all. Up to the point where you won at that Porktoberque competition in Dothan, was that the largest competition in which you'd participated and the largest win that you had gotten at that point?
It was definitely the largest win for sure. I mean, we just started in this. We've got some a few other awards, but nothing major like this in this kind of competition. We competed last year at a very large competition, and we placed fairly well there, considering it was 100 teams, and it was a very big payout competition, and they were the best of the best were there, and it was a tough field. But this is definitely, you know, the best win we've had. We also came in first place on chicken when we were there. That's another thing that's very rare. Even the guy that wins the whole competition, which is a grand championship, which is an accumulative score, the highest average of all 4 categories. So in other words, a guy can win a grand championship and never even get a call until they call the final roll call. You know, he can be sitting there, and you know, they only call the top 10. He's thinking, you know, he has no idea, but he can have come in 11th place in each category, and then they go to call the grand champion, and it's him. We got 2 first places back to back. They actually announced the winner of the World Food Championship steak category, and right after that, they started with the KCBS awards, and the first thing they called was chicken, and we had won first place in that. So that was, everybody's. There was like a buzz with all the cooks. They were like, man, this guy's going to win everything. You know, are we going to be able to win anything? But it was a good feeling. It definitely was.
Before the show, we were talking a little bit about Barbecue Pitmasters and some of the characters and the reality show portion of that production.
Absolutely. You
said you got a chance to meet some of those guys, and
we actually competed against a lot of those guys, like Matt Barber from Hot Wachula. I know if you watch the show, you know who he is. He was the guy that was giving Myron Mixon, who's the winningest man in barbecue, a fit because he was beating him every contest. He was beating everybody. The guy's an awesome cook. He actually makes sauces. He has his own packing company where he makes other people's sauces and bottles them for them and stuff like that. So, and he's a real tough competitor. And there's several more that were on that show and have been on that show numerous times that were actually competing for this state category, because this is the first year that the World Food Championship is having the state category. And it was a really big thing that a lot of these guys were wanting in on that, because that's, I mean,
bragging rights.
I mean, steak is steak. You know, when you're talking about food, I mean, steak is, it's up here. So I think they actually wanted that more than they did the barbecue award, for sure.
Well, the reality show part of it aside, and the fake drama and the stuff that they inject to make it watchable. Are those people? I was going to say guys. I'm sure I know there's a lot of women in it too. Are they giving? Do they embrace you as a newcomer and share with you once they find out that you're a decent guy? Do they share with you not so necessarily their secrets, but certainly give you a little heads up?
Well, when you get there, when you get at a barbecue contest, everything is, it's not as much hanging out and visiting as what you see on TV. When you get there, I mean, you have limited time. You have to really go to work on your meat. Now, you do have people that come and they just come for the fellowship and they want to hang out and stuff like that, and that's fine. You have different categories of people there. The people that are winning all the time, they're pretty much, you don't really see them that much, because
all business.
They're all business there. I mean, they're there to win. They take it very seriously, and they're a lot more refined in their techniques than what the TV show reveals. They're actually a lot of talented cooks that's out there, and the guys are hard to beat. I mean, a lot of these guys do this for 35 and 45 weekends out of the year. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, when there's a barbecue contest, they're there. Doesn't matter if it's 5 miles down the road or maybe not 5,000, but 500 miles down the road. They're there at it, and a lot of them travel further than that. They travel a couple thousand miles.
We appreciate you taking the opportunity first of all, driving over from Marianna to our studios here on the campus. But
absolutely,
best of luck in the competition. Perhaps you can come back at some point when you return from the competition.
Well, I hope I can come back and tell you how good it feels to have won this thing, and because that's what we're, like I said, that's what we're shooting for. It's a great honor just to be considered, one of the top 45 steak cooks around the world. But I mean, just to be in that is great, but like I said, we're shooting for the top, and hopefully I can come back and talk to you and hold a replica check up in front of you.
I would love that. One of the things that we do, one of the portions of this show, is that we visit local restaurants and we'll shoot them preparing one of their signature dishes. Maybe some point in time after you do return and things get, I know that the holidays are probably extremely busy for you, but at some point, love to visit with you guys and talk a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, you can do that. Maybe we can. You can come inside my mobile kitchen there, and there's a lot of people don't realize when they ride by and see the truck, they, sometimes they think that it's, an ice cream truck or something like that. They don't realize, the equipment that we do have in there and the capabilities that we have to put out some of the dishes that we do. And I'd love for you to come on there and do that.
Sounds good. Thank you again for coming over, and best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Our guest today has been Nick Rickman, getting ready to go to Orange Beach, Alabama just next week for the World Food Championships. As you've heard him discuss, it's pretty heady environment over there, dealing with the best of the best. If you think you've got what it takes, what's the best way for them to be able to follow this? Do they have a website?
Yeah, the World Food Championship actually has a website, and you can actually go in there and they have some subsections in there where you can go in there and look at each category and see exactly who's competing. And you can follow it there. And you can also follow us on Facebook. It's Fusion Craze on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll actually have our website. We've kind of delayed in having our website. We've kind of put it off. So we'll have that up by the end of the month. Anybody interested in any kind of catering and stuff like that way they can look and see what kind of menu we've got.
Sounds good. I have eaten this food, and believe me, you need to check it out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this segment of the show. I've learned something with every show, certainly did today. Hopefully you do too. Stay tuned. We've got lots more to come, and we'll be right back.